Welcome to 5 after midnight. Pleasant dreams. One.
One night, I was sleeping with my wife. I woke up to her mumbling, humming, and laughing in her sleep. It started to freak me out a bit, so I nudged her and said, "Annie, wake up. You're talking in your sleep." She rolled over, opened her eyes, looked me square in the face, and hissed, "Annie's not here." Then she rolled over and went back to sleep. It shook me up so bad that I had to get up and walk around for a bit before I could go back to sleep myself. When I told her about it in the morning, she didn't remember any of it.
Two.
A couple of years ago, I was having this bout of intense nightmares. Normally, I have never been one to have them, but for a few weeks I was having the most horrible dreams every night. Finally, my wife suggested we go stay down at her friend's farm and get some fresh air. We live in New York City. She also suggested that her friend, who was a Wiccan, may be able to do something about the nightmares. I personally never took much stock in any of this, but I was willing to give it a try. We drove down to our friend's place in southern New Jersey, a small old farmhouse where her friend lives with her husband, coincidentally an old friend of mine, and their son. Upon arrival, she notices how awful I look, and we start discussing the dreams. The night progresses, and she readies the guest room for us, burns sage, and says a few prayers. She tells me that I should have no trouble sleeping tonight, and we go to bed. Strangely enough, when I closed my eyes, I could see nothing but what I could only describe as static. Images would flash, but only for a second. Nothing would hold in my mind. I quickly fell asleep, relieved that the static may keep out the nightmares that have been haunting me. No such luck. A few hours later, I am deep into one of the worst dreams I've ever had. The only part I can recall is right before waking up. I was standing in a bar surrounded by family and friends who had offered me a drink filled with acid. The burning kind, not the fun kind. I drank it and felt the acid burning through my system. I could physically feel the pain. It got so intense that the pressure and heat building caused me to bite off my own fingers, spewing acid everywhere. My family and friends just laughed. It was agonizing, and I must have been thrashing about until I am pulled from my sleep by someone tapping me on the shoulder, hard. The tapping was persistent, getting harder and harder until finally I opened my eyes. Figuring it was my wife, I flipped over and said, "What?" She was dead asleep facing the wall. I could still feel where the finger was jabbing into my shoulder. There was a small bruise later. Confused and a little scared, I left the room and smoked a cigarette, finally getting to sleep hours later. The sleep was dreamless and restful. The next morning, I came downstairs, and our friend is at the table drinking coffee. She says, "Rough night last night?" I ask her, "How did you know?" She then tells me that the spirit of her uncle lives in the house, and he awoke me from the dream because he saw that I was in pain. She then said he watched over me personally the rest of the evening so that I could finally get some rest. Needless to say, I was completely freaked out. Later, before we left, I was alone in the room grabbing our bags, and I said thank you and walked out. I have had a few instances involving ghosts, but that one still sticks with me to this day.
Three.
I had a nightmare where an Asian woman was being tortured on a bed. She kept screaming, "Meta! Meta!" No indications of her nationality were in the dream. During the dream, I thought she was yelling someone's name. Upon waking up, I find that she was a person from Thailand screaming, "Mercy!" I don't speak Thai. When I woke up, I used the Google language tools to figure out what she was saying to me.
4.
I always have these deja vu dreams, where the events in your dream happen in real life, whether it happens days or years later. This time, knowing what happened next saved my life. My dream was simple. I was driving down from the mountains back home with friends in their car from what was a snowboard skiing trip. The conversation was, I suppose, the usual for a long car ride. I spy this and other stuff that. Then, the Smash Mouth song All Star comes on the radio. I remembered it because everyone started singing along. Speeding down the mountain, and after signaling into the passing lane, all of a sudden, a huge car wreck happens right in front of us. Happening so fast that the cars smashed into each other, and one of the cars involved rolled off the mountain over the divider. I was too close to avoid it, and so I pulled to the right, which caused the car behind us to plow into the side of us, rolling our car to the opposite side of the road. I remember just a fuzzy feeling upside down and just glancing around the car and seeing my friends mutilated. It just sends shivers down my spine to even think about it. I wake up and in tears. I was just so frightened and scared. It was very surreal. After years passed of the night of the dream, my friends and I decided to go get together and plan a small trip to have a ski and snowboard day for the first snowfall. We knew a storm was coming, so we headed up the mountain. Good runs, fresh snow. It was an overall great success. We had gotten exactly what we had come for. We packed our things and headed down the mountain, and it clicked. The same stupid car banter, I spy, and then Smash Mouth All Stars come on. It happened. I was in my nightmare. The wreck happened just as I remembered, but I didn't pull right as I did in my dream. I pulled to the left into the opposite lane and somehow just avoided it. Everything slowed down. It was like I was in my own world. And everything happened the same except for my actions. We pulled to the side of the road and called 911. I broke down. It was too much. I was again scared and shaking, but somehow that stupid dream saved my life.
Number 5.
I had a nightmare where this evil-looking woman was about to rip my insides out. I opened my eyes, looked at the window in the room to see daylight, and I heard her, as plain as day, say, "I can find you outside your dreams," in this creepy, cackle-singing voice. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the show. If you have a story to share, send us an email, like us on Facebook, share, like, and subscribe.